Good day! The title of the proposed study is A Grounded Theory of Strategic Leadership in Post-Pandemic 21st Century Education, Learning from the Management Practices of DepEd Model Schools. This is Venosy Lumapak, Teacher 3, and an EdD-EM student at NEMSU, Tandag campus. Rationale. School-based management, or SBM, is a mechanism to enhance education by giving individual schools a large amount of decision-making power. Because of this, academics and research claims that parental and community involvement in schools has led to the improvement of student success and the creation of more effective schools. This was formally adopted as the school's governing structure by enabling the school community to identify educational priorities and allocate school maintenance and operating budgets to those priorities, as well as by enhancing transparency and accountability through annual implementation plans and school report cards. It is intended to improve student outcomes. On the other hand, the COVID-19 crisis has significantly altered the roles of school and community stakeholders. Existing research suggests that problems such as limited access to education, pupils repeating grades, and a low achievement rate were still evident as documented in the division basis for school year 2021 to 2022. One of the stated difficulties that the Department of Education still views as a problem, despite the implementation of SBM, is the lack of classroom space, especially that the limited number of pupils were allowed to attend classes. Other issues were the enormous class size and a dearth of resources, as well as the lack of parental follow-up. DepEd Order Number 12 Series of 2020 on the adoption of Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, or BELCP, for school year 2020 to 2021 in light of the COVID-19 public health emergency in order to provide guidance to all DepEd offices, units, schools, and community learning center, as well as the parents, partners, and stakeholders. These guidelines lay out the actual plans on how to sustain education despite the pandemic with the use of different mode of instruction or the blended distance learning. The purpose of the study is to understand the strategic management practices of DepEd model schools in post-pandemic era and 21st century education. This theory can shed light on the questions: what were the goals or targets set by the DepEd for them to achieve? How they prepare the school and community for the start and the implementation of classes? What were the plans they implemented? And how they facilitated and monitored their school blended learning to keep pace with the 21st century education? On instructional mandate, an in-depth understanding out from qualitative data will help mirror educational institutions to tune up their strategic leadership skills that will suit to the changing demands of the new normal 21st century education. As stated in Deputy Order Number 55, Series of 2008, the goals and objectives of SBM is to improve learner participation, school attendance, participation rate, and learning outcomes. When leaders understand deeply the complexity and demanding roles and responsibilities in the respective schools, maybe their leadership practices in understanding the purpose of the school, the smooth functioning of the school, and the vision they have to carry out the mandate will be easily achieved. Community Extension Mandate. The result of the study can be used as baseline data for training school heads and academic leaders to become more adaptable, strategic, and innovative 21st century school leaders. Moreover, results from the study can be utilized by other researchers as there are other data in a similar study that will be conducted in the future. On the production mandate, the recommendation of this study can be utilized by school leaders on which areas they need to improve or which they can adopt in their schools in order to facilitate and evaluate blended distance learning in 21st century education. The direct beneficiaries will be the school heads, the school supervisors, and the other managers, whereas the indirect beneficiaries are the teachers, the students, and the community that they serve. Because in a generation where pandemic is the new normal in the world market, understanding strategic leadership and organizational management practices from model schools in the new normal blended education will help educators be equipped with the necessary tools and strategies in unprecedented events. The approach, the data will be collected by a semi-structured in-depth interview with school leaders using the grounded theory approach, using comparative and qualitative thematic analysis. Themes will be contrasted with one another and the related concepts will be integrated. The study will employ a purposeful sampling strategy. The following requirements must be met in order for a respondent to be qualified. First, at least 3 years of service as a school leader in the institution in which he or she is employed. Second, consistent SBM Level 3 implementer acknowledged by the regional office. Third, not to have been infected by COVID-19 pandemic this year or is under place quarantine. To be in active status and not to be on any type of leave application. That is our fourth criteria. And as long as the respondents will be eligible participants based on the specified criteria, the researcher will relied on her judgment in selecting school leaders from the Caraga region to engage in the study. Homogeneous sampling will be used. The content validity of the constructed interview questions will be subjected to the experts, advisor, and subject expert and research expert. All the participants will be briefed about the study and will be sent informed consent to solicit further participation and the use of audio and video records to record the interview more accurately. For dissertation A, the study will run for 1 semester, and for dissertation B, another term will be utilized. On results of the study will be presented in schools division office and district offices, and part of the paper will be used for academic scholarly journal publications. Likewise, the research will be presented in local and international research conferences. The legacy, a proposed theory that leaders, strategic leadership, and organizational management practices will address various components in 21st century blended education and will seek to investigate a phenomenon regarding strategic leadership in DepEd model schools. Moreover, if the study will be successful, the study will be made known to general public by the researcher's YouTube channel. For capacity, despite the fact that grounded theory is new to the researcher, but with the help of the experts in the field, as well as the technological tools, the researcher have high hopes that the study is feasible. On the implementation, the output of the study will be disseminated in DepEd head of office by sending a letter to the office of the school's division superintendent. Copy of the completed study will likewise be sent on the region and division office, also to the general public by the researcher's YouTube channel. And thank you so much for listening. That would be all. Good day.